Hey, welcome to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. I'm Arif Halaby, along with special guest Jeff Gerard here every week at this time. We talk about your family's finances, of course, getting out of debt, managing money, and planning for your future. That's what it's all about. Look, we try to teach you, try to learn a little bit about the things you should have learned about in high school or college. Isn't it funny that every day you'll sit around and you'll talk about, everything from the Kardashians to local politics, oh my gosh, national politics. But by the way, it doesn't matter what your college degree is in. Everybody gets paid in money. If you don't understand how money works, if you don't understand it, the truth is, in money and finance, you have to understand why money works the way it does. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Why are you paid in money? Right? Look, one of the largest groups of professions that file bankruptcy are the most educated. We call them doctors. Did you know that? With doctors being the number one group that files bankruptcy, why is that the case? I thought they were smart. I thought they're the ones that are supposed to be, understanding everything, right? They're physicians. But you wouldn't trust a physician to change your oil in your car necessarily, and you certainly wouldn't say, oh, by the way, can you build a room addition for me? Right? Because each one of those jobs, each one of those professions have their own skill set. And oh, by the way, about 120 years ago, what changed was you're not allowed to be bartering. In other words, to take what you're good at and to change that skill set in for some other product or service. You know that? Did you know that's illegal? For me to cut your hair and you to mow my lawn, me to watch your kids and you to give me some chickens, me to give you some wheat and you give me some corn. You know, you're not allowed to do that. Well, who's running around? The barter police? No, it's called the IRS. When the IRS said we can no longer tax those things, because that's the way they work, right? Originally, income tax was only for the rich, those people, and everybody said, yeah, get them, it's the rich, go get them. And now everybody's paying taxes. In California, you pay tax for breathing virtually. It's incredible. You pay tax for almost everything. For a bag at the grocery store. I mean, if you would have said that 10 years ago, people would have said, oh my gosh, that is insane. Nobody would ever do that. And now for a bag at the grocery store. But then they cover up a bad decision. And they do it, it's for the environment. It's for the children. It's for the animals or old people or doctors or lawyers or policemen. It's for nurses. Who doesn't like nurses? So then they charge you taxes on everything under the sun, and they cover it up with a social agenda, and you just go, gosh, I don't want to seem like a bigot, racist, homophobe, environmental hater, leftist, rightist, who would want to be that? So, of course, you just quietly say, oh, yes, Mom, may I have another? And we go down this financial road, so before you know it, and here, I'm going to blow your mind, you actually trusted your employer, who's great at making widgets or planes or building roads, and you said, oh, by the way, employer, your job is to take care of my health care, my health insurance, and my retirement. But anyway, be good at making widgets, building computers, building roads, and take care of my health care and my retirement, please. Right? You expect, it's like almost you're going to work and you're saying the old company store mindset, right? If you remember that from the Wild West days, the company store, there's a mining town, they have this, the mine owns the saloon, they own the store, they own the hotel, they own everything. And so they pay you, then they overcharge you for the other things, and you're working for free. You just get your food, shelter, clothing, and you have no money for your future. But do it again next month, because you need to eat. Right? So I want you to wake up a little bit. I mean, it might sound a little funny, even sarcastic, but when you're looking at taking care of you and your family, there are tools and mechanisms. Jeff, we have talked about this, 13 and a half years now. I think I've been on the air. Is that right?
That's right.
Coming up on 14 years, I guess.
That's right.
Probably 2,500 radio shows, plus or minus, 2,200 radio shows maybe. Tell me, when we talk about the tools, how is it that people can use some of these tools and the mechanisms of financial stuff to kind of transfer wealth to protect our families?
Well, I think, first of all, it's getting away from the that's the way it is mindset. You have to be curious and ask yourself, what do wealthy people do? How do they stay wealthy? How is it that generation after generation continues to pass on wealth? And there's not only enough for them while they're alive, but for their kids and then their kids and their kids and so on. So how do they do that? Well, there's no one magic trick that they have. It's really about keeping more than they spend, right? It's what they keep, not what they earn. And I can tell you a big part of that is how they transfer the wealth to their heirs. A big part of that we're going to talk about today is life insurance. That has some very important tax favorability, and it also has some other parts to it that I think help in the process of transferring, not having it go to making attorneys rich or getting tied up in court systems. This is a way to directly benefit your family and your heirs, the people that you want to have this money that you worked hard for. And there's a way to do that that's more cost effective than you think.
Yeah, isn't it funny? People will sometimes complain about the rich and say things, oh, they just donate money so they can get their name on the school library or the wing of the hospital building. Well, you understand, the retirement accounts, the pre-tax money that you and I save, 401ks, 457 if you work for a city or county or a state agency, or if you work for a hospital or school district, it's called a 403b. Those dollars that you set aside, when you put that money aside, you know what those are called? It's called pre-tax savings, meaning you didn't pay tax on the money yet. What do wealthy people do? Well, often they will take those dollars and donate those to the charity, hence the library or the wing of the hospital or whatever. Why do they do that? Because you understand that when you leave those dollars to your children or your spouse, it is all taxable. So that means your kids now just inherited $500,000, and by the time all the taxes are done, and because they never earned it, what do they do with it all? Oh, they just spend it.
Right.
Right? Within a year. I'll tell you a story here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that one from yesterday?
That's right.
We just found out yesterday. Wait till you hear this story. So people put together these, I'm going to have this money go to my children. Wealthy people say, I'm going to give that to charity. I'm going to get the tax write-off. I'm going to give my kids life insurance. Why? Because it is tax-free. They receive it without any income, estate tax, if it's done right, even no, not even estate tax. Zero income tax. I mean, is that not insane? Why is it that when we pass money from one generation to the next, if you're poor in mindset, you say, well, they never earned it, they don't deserve it, they shouldn't have it, it's not their money. Well, it's not yours either. It's not the government's either. If you earned it, do what you want with it. But if it's done through a retirement account, it will be taxed. Sometimes at a really high rate, too.
That's right. And what a lot of people don't think about is by the time you have amassed an amount of money that's sizable and you get to that place in your life where you're going to pass that on, don't you think and wouldn't you hope that your kids, your adult kids now, are earning money and doing well, and they're probably earning the highest they've ever earned in their life? Well, that's called income. They pay tax on that. Now drop in a big bucket of dollars that they absolutely have to take the money out of. They say, no, we're good. We make our own money. We have our own finances. We're good. We don't need mom or dad's money. Sorry, you never pay tax on it, so now your kids have to. That money goes into the kitty, so to speak, and it has to be reconciled. You have to square up with Uncle Sam. So you may be unknowingly hurting your kids tax-wise, or the money that you saved and didn't spend on yourself, you want to go to them or your grandkids. That's probably going to go at least in part to the government. So think about that.
Yeah, life insurance has always had a couple of options when you're planning on giving it to somebody. Number one is somebody going to experience a financial loss. So think of it like this. Somebody is counting. It could be your parents, a sibling, your children, your spouse. It could be anybody in your life that is counting on you to go to work every day, and if you pass away, the paycheck doesn't come in, whether it's through a paycheck or a pension or some sort of income where if you pass away, those dollars also stop, and it will affect other people's lives. And maybe not just now, but you might die prematurely, and when that happens, there are people that today they're okay, but eventually you're going to have to take care of your parents. They didn't save properly. Or you may have to take care of that special needs sibling. They're okay right now, but eventually someone has to take care of that special needs sister or brother. Who's going to do it? If it's you, you better have life insurance today. That helps protect them in the future. God forbid something happens to you. So we're not talking about that. That's important. We've spoken about that numerous times on the show. Today we're getting into the detail of life insurance as a form of wealth transfer. Meaning you have now set up a situation to where you've built up your wealth while you're living and spending the money. Great, you're doing it. And the life insurance part of your wealth, you might say, today, when I pass away, I want those dollars to go to my spouse, my wife, my kids. You can have it go to your parents, even to a trust, like we had Lisa Golshani, an attorney, last week on the show, even to go to a special needs trust where the dollars go there to help fund taking care of a sibling, a sister, brother, whoever is in your life, maybe a child. So life insurance is a transfer of wealth, gets around the problems that you can encounter with your 401k or your deferred comp or your TSA if you're a school teacher, tax sheltered annuity, your IRA. Those accounts are pre-tax. If you have a choice, you may want to consider using life insurance as a way to push those dollars off to charity and have life insurance fill the gap for that need.
Well, and a big part of this is to remember that we see this all the time. People save money for their retirement. And what are they scared of in retirement? They're scared of running out of money. So what do they not do? They don't take the vacation. They don't buy the RV. They don't go on the trip. They don't do all the things that they want to do because they're concerned about paying for their monthly expenses. Now, let's say they have that under control, but they still are a bit conservative. They're a little bit shy. I don't want to spend that money because I want to make sure I leave my kids better off than I ever was. So what do? Is not spend their own money out of guilt. For every dollar that you leave in a pre-tax account like a 401k or retirement account, you can count on not 100% of that going to them. Maybe 60, 70% going to your kids. But for every dollar of life insurance, you might be able to leave $10, $15, $20 for every dollar that you put into a life insurance policy. So think about the power of leveraging and doing what wealthy people do. You're actually creating a greater scenario, and it's more beneficial tax-wise. The tax part is not as concerning to me as what you can do with the power of that $1 in life insurance. For
think of it like this. You give $1 and $10 go to your kids' charity, churches, whomever you choose, or you give $1 and 60 cents go to them. 60 cents or $10. It really is that simple of a math problem. Look, there's a reason that wealthy people use life insurance policies. It's because they understand them. Today, with things like cell phones and the internet, look, the excuse that I just didn't know, it doesn't work anymore. It used to be you might have 5, 6, or 7 children or more. You're on a farm, and you took your oldest, like your son, right? Remember these days, and you sent him off to college. You said, "We will be here. You go find knowledge and bring it back." And off they would go, and you're sitting there and you're waiting, and 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, that child returns and says, "Boy, let me tell you what I found out." And they start talking about all sorts of things the world had to offer. And yet, today, knowledge comes to you. Now look, back in the farm days when you couldn't even afford to send your oldest child to college, tough luck, this generation lost, maybe next time. Wealthy people would send all of their children to college. Today, college comes to you. Knowledge comes to you. The value of a brick and mortar school, in my opinion, has diminished immensely. Now, not the expenses. They built an entire network of people that have to be paid and pensions that have to be satisfied and tenured, structured professors that are contemplating every thing they say. Those people need to be paid. So don't you worry. You go get a student loan. And when you get there, you go, dang it, these are the same things I could find out, on Google or Bing or Yahoo. I could find this stuff out for free. Oh, but the experience. Which one? The getting drunk or I don't know, which part of the experience? Well, it's the being around and the socialization. I got it. How about do it for less money? Because if you think college is about knowledge, it is not. You can get everything about everything for free. Now, if you don't understand, there's a value. I get it. Look, I'm not dumb. I get it. But don't you go into $60,000 a year student loan debt so that your kids can have an experience where when the basic knowledge is right here on a computer. Right? Wealthy people have figured it out. They didn't need a university. They didn't need the internet to tell them to use life insurance as a method of transferring wealth, and they give their retirement account in part or altogether to a church or a charity or an organization that they believe in. Right? That's happened for generations, not not something that happened yesterday. So today you now have a chance to catch up. So why I share this with you is because the knowledge is there. It already exists, and we can get it. We can get access to it. Look, you can go to tfswealth.com. TFS stands for Total Financial Solutions. tfswealth.com. That's us. You can click on send us an email, right? Shoot us a question.
That's right.
Jeff and I will be here when we come right back in just a minute as we continue with your information to help you get out of debt, manage money, plan for your future. Isn't it nice to learn just a little bit? Hey, this is your financial literacy program right here on your place for news, talk, and information. Hometown Station. We'll be right back.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Natural Balance limited ingredient diets are simple formulas with simple ingredients. Feed your pet a limited ingredient diet to ensure they only get the very best of what they need. High quality nutrition with a limited number of animal protein and carbohydrate sources to help support healthy digestion. Available at Fox Feed, one of the largest feed and supply stores providing quality feed and pet products in Santa Clarita since 1976. Shop local, shop Fox Feed, where their experts will guide you with what's best for your pets and livestock on Sierra Highway 2 miles north of Soledad.
First impressions say it all. Choosing the right makeup is critical to that first impression and keeping your skin looking young and healthy. That's why Santa Clarita's Jen Gerard created Gerard Cosmetics. Inspired by women of all ages who gravitate toward classic and timeless beauty with a modern twist, Gerard Cosmetics. Superb quality and pigmentation, along with lip glosses and lipsticks in colors for everyone. The internationally acclaimed Gerard Cosmetics. Discover your new look at GerardCosmetics.com.
Santa Clarita's newest premier senior living community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, is leasing, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Seniors can enjoy 5-star amenities, panoramic views, easy access to the freeways, and nearby shopping centers in a world-class community that provides an advanced continuum of care. No other community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. You'll find good health, vitality, and purpose at Oakmont of Santa Clarita. Stop by for a tour. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
There are fun kids events at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita. 2 to 5-year-olds meet at the Arc Room on Fridays for toddler exercise time. New moms come to the Church on the Way Santa Clarita on Tuesdays for a new, free Moms Fellowship. Support, friendship, and social events for moms and their babies. Visit tcotwsc.org for these and other exciting events at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita on Cinema Drive, or call 291-6000.
Hometown, your hometown station.
This is your place for news, talk, and information, your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Hey, welcome back to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. I'm Arif Halaby, and your place for news, talk, and information. We're talking about your family's finances, of course, getting out of debt, managing money, and planning for your future. And what is that all about? Look, we're kind of emphasizing life insurance. You've heard me talk a little bit about education, and it comes from a frustrating place, because it's amazing to me why so many people have yet to figure out that financial literacy is not something that you're going to learn in your high school or college, or surprise, surprise, even your MBA class. We've had CPAs, we've had MBA grads that'll come into our office, and they're great at what they're good at. I'm not saying, they run circles around most people. They're really good at it. But in the holistic approach of an everyday person's financial life, this many things, most people are not good at that. It's almost like this. When you hear, a person talk about, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm the marketing executive for the largest beverage company in Southern California. Oh, wow. And, ma'am, what do you do? To his wife. Well, I run a $100,000 a year budget managing the distribution of employees and staff, and she's a homemaker. But she has to manage the books coming and going for the house, make sure that the bills are paid, make sure the house has food, make sure the husband is taken care of, make sure the kids are taken care of, make sure the retirement accounts are funded, make sure the savings accounts are funded, make sure the credit cards are paid. Do you understand? The basics of running a house isn't taught anymore. Why is it that somebody that makes 70 or 60 or 80 or 100,000 a year spends $10,000 or more than they make each year? Because they're stupid? Of course not. It's because they have no clue on how to manage their finances. They think the credit card balance of $5,000 means if they make $5,000 this month, they can spend $5,000 on the credit card plus $5,000 that I make. I can spend $10,000. No, the credit card is another way to spend the $5,000 you already make. That's it. Right? You can spend it debit card, you can spend it in pennies, you can spend it in a credit card, you can spend it in dollar bills, you can spend it in 20s. It's not as if when you spend a $20 bill, there's a whole new 20 that pops up and you get to spend another 20. It's gone. It's poof, poof, bye-bye, gone. So how do you learn this? Now, look, I'm not talking about mistakes. I'm not talking about emergencies or, gosh, we were struggling and trying to get. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about patterns of behavior. Right, Jeff? We've talked about this. There's a difference between patterns of financial behavior and events. An event happens. Tough luck, we got to get up, we're going to fight, we're going to do what we use, what's our tools? Sometimes we have to go into debt. Patterns of behavior says, did you know? Oh my gosh, did you know there's another sale going on? And I need 17 pairs of shoes because 16 just isn't enough. Right? There's times when people make mistakes and it's a little bit bigger.
Right, and you can say these events keep happening to you, but eventually those events can become patterns because you didn't prepare. If you don't learn from the last mistakes, then they are just truly mistakes. They were never lessons. So if you take a look at it as an opportunity to learn and say, how did that happen? Not blame and point fingers, oh, it was your fault, and that's how you see a lot of turmoil within a family start to brood because they're looking for blame. They're looking for a place to point the finger. There's the source, let's take care of that. Now don't do that. No, we all contributed. If I fail, we all fail as a family. So taking a look at that lesson and saying, how do we prevent that from happening? Then you remove that from ever becoming a pattern of behavior. You remove it from becoming a characteristic, a part of who you are. And so these are the tools that I think they should be teaching much earlier on. I've shared this before. I didn't have any type of from school, rather, I should qualify this. In school, we didn't talk about money or budgets or balancing or income or expense. We didn't talk about any of that till, I say, 10 minutes before I left high school. They wait till the second semester of 12th grade before they kick you out into the world. Some of us were 18 I was 18 before I graduated. And here you are. You're able to go work without a permit. You can drive a car, buy auto insurance.
Join the military,
carry all these things as an adult. And they never taught you how to spend. You don't need lessons on how to spend, but how to manage your money. They say, here's how to write a check and here's how you balance. Really? That's what we're teaching kids right before we boot them out into the real world?
Yeah, how to be a good employee, make enough, spend enough,
Crazy.
And, oh, by the way, who's going to take care of you for your financial life? We talk about this regularly where it doesn't matter what you earn. You go to work, you wake up, you make money. You make sure that your cell phone works. Everybody does that. You make sure there's gas in your car. Yep. So don't worry. The guys who are and women who are shareholders of the cell phone company, or the guy who sold you the cell phone deal who's making money on it, they're going to have a good retirement. Oh, dry cleaner? Yeah, you got to get your clothes. Dry cleaner. Their kids are going to go to an amazing, amazing college. And don't you worry. The grocery store owner or the liquor store guy that you stop in and you pick up a few things, it's only $20 a week. It's it. They are taking an amazing vacation this summer. So you went to work to make sure everybody else has a life. And at the end of the month, and you start all over again. You're working for everybody else's wealth, success, and happiness. Somebody's got to work for you. I don't know who it is, but somebody has to. And if it's not you, who else is going to care about you? And you know what? Let's say you're Mrs. or Mr. Martyr. Oh, but and it's just fine. I'll let you be that. Who's going to work for your kids? They didn't have a choice to be born to you. Right? It wasn't like, I'm going to pick this mom and dad because they're incompetent with money. And then we're destined to be broke. I can't wait. You think the kids grew up thinking that? Or you think they go, gosh, dang it, I'm stuck with you. When I grow up, what am I going to do things differently? While you still have them in your life, it's time to make a change. Look, I know a lot of you are picking up kids now. You got kindergarten and you got preschool, and right, we have things going on, and it's a little bit busy, and I understand. But you have to focus. Somebody's got to care for you and your family. Can you look on television and realize it's not the state government? They are broke, and they are incompetent. I will tell that to the budget director's face. Oh, wait, I already did. In so many words, I said, sir, you have no idea. I don't know what I was, 15 feet away, 20 feet away from him. You have no idea that the way you're counting jobs hurts the state. Right? The state of California budget director, they counted a $12 job at a coffee shop with a $54 manufacturing job. This job went away because the state messed up. And this one came, a service job, and they said, see, we had 1.8 million jobs lost. We have 1.9 million jobs back. The state of California is great. Everybody in the room clapped. I go, sir, it doesn't make sense because we lost revenue. We lost payroll. It was only $54 billion,
Wow.
a small amount. So, which means the state of California cannot tax that money. So it's nice that you count a job as a job, but that's not the real math. So either they're trying to trick us, right? He was trying to trick us in the audience, which I would actually accept. I'd be like, oh, well, okay, you got us. Most of us anyway. The worst thing is that son of a gun believed it, and the governor believes it himself. That's the crazy thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't believe this. I'm okay if at the end of the story there's only two choices. You're tricking me or you're tricking yourself. I hope you're trying to trick me. Because we are in serious trouble. Look at the things they tax. Everything. So be very careful, you guys. You have to count on yourself. You have to look to yourself. Nobody else is going to care for you. They all might love you. They all might want to care for you, but nobody else will except for you and your family.
And that's where we come into saying, take care of your family first, pay yourself first, and if leaving a legacy is important, wonderful. But if not, and you just still want to just take care of what's in front of you right now, life insurance is going to be that thing that protects you while you're building your life. Some people may think or may not think that they need it. But really, I think if you have anybody counting on you, to your point, Arif, if somebody's counting on you and you say, look, we don't have a lot of means right now to save a whole boatload of dollars. It's going to take us 30 years to save and invest to a place where we're comfortable financially. How do you protect yourself now while you're in the building phase, whether it's going to take you 10, 15, or 30 years from now to get to that place? Life insurance is a very low-cost, efficient way of backfilling in the event there is a loss. Because look, you have that plan, right? You say, look, we're going to do this, we're going to have X, Y, Z, we're going to execute, and you know what? Dad didn't come home from the grocery store. How often does that happen? All too often. And do you think a family ever said, oh gosh, wow, he left way too much life insurance to his family? Would they ever say that? No.
Yeah. How many times do you see, let's do a car wash to help bury somebody because, they had way too much money. Or let's see if you can donate to a GoFundMe page because, their kids are already covered for college and they got a good head start on life. They're not going to have a dad, but at least they got a good head start. So let's have a car wash. But you don't see that. And we as a community are supposed to come around and take care of people. But that doesn't negate your responsibility. Look, I don't know if there's laws or rules. I can't quote life insurance exactly, right? You see those things on a 47-year-old man with 2 children and a happy wife and a job can get $1 million in coverage for $42 a month. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on, is it a 10-year policy or a 20 or 30-year? Right? There's a bunch of different moving parts. So you could work with us. We do not charge a fee. The companies pay us. So if you buy it from us or somebody else, it's all the same. Insurance is insurance. But make sure that you have the right company. It has to be an A-rated company, in my opinion, right? This is my set of rules. A-rated company, number 1. Number 2 is they have to have good customer service. Number 3 is they have to have a track record. They have to have been in business for more than 15 minutes. Let's make sure they've been around for a while. Make sure they're paying their claims. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And last but not least, the minimum guarantees. They have guarantees that are going to take this to at least what you think it is or better. Because I don't want you to be upside down or make mistakes, especially with something like life insurance. These are people counting on you, and you can't come back and do it again.
That's right. And what it really boils down to is filling the need that you are comfortable with filling. Don't let somebody tell you what they think. Now, if they're a professional and they've been in this more than 10 minutes and they have a track record and they sit down and they look at your entire situation and they make some recommendations, but they give you choices, then I would say that that's a competent person. Give you the pros and cons, because look, like Arif said, there are some moving parts here, different types of insurance plans, which we haven't even gotten into. We can touch on that here briefly in a moment. But there are folks and companies and agents out there that will, I hesitate to use the word push, but they'll really promote a certain type of insurance that really benefits them and their company. And now it could certainly benefit you, but I want to make sure that you understand why it's good for you and that you chose that type of a plan versus maybe another one that was maybe a little bit less expensive and had just as much or maybe more benefit.
Yeah, look, they all, if you die, they pay. There's
right.
If it's a straight term insurance, and usually the term is, anyway, it could be 1 year, 5 year, 10, right? But generally speaking, it's 10, 20, or 30 years, which means, just like car insurance, you pay for it. If you use it, God forbid you pass away, right? If you pass away, your family gets paid. If you don't, there is no refund. So consequently, it's very inexpensive. It's just like car insurance. If you didn't crash your car last year, you're not going to get any money back. You just didn't crash your car. That's a good thing. If it is something where it is built in, where there's a cash value, a permanent plan, those are right, but for a small number of people, not for everybody and every person under the sun. So just know that it's a tool. It has a purpose. It can be used properly. And if it is and it works, well, then great. But just know that there are different pieces and places out there. And your family has to kind of know and be a part of it.
And I think the term insurance plan is probably the first place you should be shopping. Whether you work with a professional or not, if you're doing the DIY route and you want to go look online and compare rates and all those sorts of things, as Arif said, it's basically the same cost whether you do it on your own or you work with somebody. So if I had to choose one or the other, I'd rather have somebody that's licensed and is a professional in that field in my corner to give me at least a second opinion on why I think or why they think my choice was a good idea or not. So that's the first part of it. And then the second part is, looking at filling the need for as long as you possibly can for as little as possible. What do I mean by that? Some people say, well, I think I only need a 10-year plan because that's all I can afford. Look, if you can afford $1 million for 10 years, but your kids are all 2 and 3 years old and they may be counting on you for the next 20 years, 25 years, maybe you buy a little bit less insurance for a longer period of time, because I'd rather see the need covered for longer, because look, this is the youngest and healthiest you're probably ever going to be is right now while you're shopping that insurance.
Yeah, good point, because part of what happens is you've got to start weighing the costs of everything in your life. Learn to cut back in places that are, look, when I was trying to figure this whole thing out 30 years ago and I was trying to build my own financial life, I read a book and it was really powerful to me, and where it really kind of hit home in that process, I don't know if it was exactly 30 years ago, but in that process was this. It says, why are you always trying to cut back and save? You cannot save beyond zero. In other words, you can't spend less than zero money, but you can make more than 100, more than 1,000, more than 1,000,000, more than 1 billion these days. So there's much more room between what you're making and spending today towards the upside than towards the zero. So don't be stupid with money, but be very careful with how you're spending money, and be very careful with how you're making money. You can make more. He says, why is everybody so worried about just spending less money? Just make more money. And I thought, oh, okay. Sounds a little easier than said than done, but I like that idea. Then I don't have to stop buying shoes.
Well, Arif, I already work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and I'm exhausted when I
have Labor Day, Martin Luther King, and,
I do.
And President's Day off?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday off.
Well, then you deserve a break.
I do.
Arif,
I've been working for 5 years without a vacation.
Is it the Constitution, the Bible, or I don't know, where is it you follow that says Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? Only 40 hours a week. Don't work 41. Heaven forbid. I don't know. Isn't that weird? It was created, and now don't you work more than 40 hours a week? Whew, you know how hard I work? Look, I get it. And if a job is a job and the state law and the rules, but if you're building your own business, if you're somebody that's an entrepreneur, you make money not on the short term. You make money on projects, on building things. Well, whether it's a business or a product or a service, I don't know, website, you're building something. So learn how to create wealth. It's a different mindset. And sometimes that journey you're going to take from your family's wealth to do so, and that's what life insurance does, is it allows that gap to be filled until you make it. You can always cancel it. Look, Jeff, you said something. See, folks, life insurance is a one-way contract. It means once the insurance company says yes, it's over. They cannot cancel you. You can have HIV next month. You can have cancer next year. Tough. They said yes. You can cancel tomorrow, next month, next year. You can cancel anytime you want. So it's a one-way conversation, a one-way contract. If you have a young family, well, then you get a little bit insurance that fits you need. You don't need a lot. You need enough. So there's value there in making sure it works for you. We're going to take another break, and then we're going to finish up this hour of the program. When we come back, Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. That's Jeff Gerard. I'm Arif Halaby. And look, I mentioned I was going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story, something we just found out yesterday. I think it's going to break your heart. But it will give you some great information in understanding the human condition and I think what is natural tendency. You're looking at your hometown station. This is KHTS. I'm Arif Halaby. We'll be right back.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
You choose your dry cleaner for convenience. Maybe it's time to choose a dry cleaner that is not only convenient but does quality work at a reasonable price. Town Cleaners. They're in the center of our valley and they offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in Santa Clarita. Town Cleaners, a dry cleaner who goes the extra step. Their stringent quality control ensures the highest quality cleaning and pressing for your garments. And now through February, save 50% on all dry cleaning orders. Town Cleaners on Soledad and Rainbow Glen.
The most charming new restaurant is now in Santa Clarita. Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark. Voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Now, discover Marston's new Santa Clarita location. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road in McBean or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
From the heart of Chicago to the SCV, enjoy authentic eats from Marciano's Chicago-style deli. Marciano's house specialties include the Chicago pot pie, the Chicago dog, and Marciano's signature dubbed beef hoagie, a mouth-watering top roast slow-cooked with Marciano's secret Italian spices for 72 hours. Next to the Canyon Country Library, you don't have to travel far for the only true Chicago cuisine in the SCV. Marciano's Chicago-style deli.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call the Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrocoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Hometown. Your hometown station.
Thanks for listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Hey, welcome back to the show. Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. Arif Halaby along with Jeff Gerard. And Total Financial Solutions every week at this time. And look, why are we here? We're here to help you get out of debt, manage money, plan for your retirement. And believe it or not, some of these are the conversations that you should have had at the dinner table. You should have had with your parents, maybe in the 8th grade, maybe in the 5th grade, right? If you have enough children, I don't know what enough is. Jeff, is 5 enough?
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Jeff has 5. If you have enough kids, you're usually going to have one that is the, I want to be endearing, but they're the ones that are the scrapper, the ones that always make something work, the deal maker, I don't know if that's the right term. There's a better term for it. I just don't remember what it might be. The one that has always got a thing going, right?
Improvising?
Improvising? No. I'm trying to not use bad words, but I don't mean negative words. What's the right way? The guy who's always got, I don't want to say a scam going. That's the word I'm trying to avoid. But they always have a deal or a thing, right? Do you have? Is one of yours? Hey, I'll help take this from you and give this to you.
Well, we call him the resident attorney. So
there you go. It's the same person.
He's always got an angle. He's always got a way to figure something out, and he's very good at convincing the other person or all of us that he's right. No matter what it is.
So isn't it interesting, right? Because in our family, we're 4 kids, me growing up with my 3 sisters, and there was one of us that would say, I have a shiny penny, but the shiny brown thing for that big, ugly, silvery thing called a quarter. And the little kid would go, okay. Right? So you always have something going, a business deal or a lemonade stand, or you're going to, when my kids were little, for Christmas, he got a cricket catching thing with a little net and a little plastic container and clear with holes in the top, and you would catch crickets. And one of our friends, Mr. Nick, had lizards, and they would go to the pet store to buy crickets for 10 cents. And so he said, well, why don't I catch the crickets, because we had crickets in our backyard. Why don't I catch the crickets and I'll sell them to Mr. Nick for 5 cents? I said, oh, that's a great idea. So he did that, and he sold them to Mr. Nick, 10 of them or something, for 5 cents. Then what he did is he went to his little brother, and he said, little brother, every time you catch a cricket, I'll give you 4 cents for it. So what he did is he sat at home and he made a penny for every cricket. And that was the first time he said, Dad, I don't have to actually do the work, but I can make some money. And of course, the little brother's the same one that would change the penny for the quarter. The little brother said, okay, that's a good idea. And he said, what you're doing is you're leasing my equipment, because, the net
catcher. Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant?
Super.
That's the kind of thing you want to cultivate. You don't want to shut that down as a parent and say, oh, don't stop doing that, or you're going to be ripping people off. No, it's called a business, right? Do it honestly. But it's incredible when we shut down those conversations that kids start to have or see. Do it honestly, ethically, look at the other side. It's all about value, right? There's a different conversation. When we had that television show where they would go to these garage sales and they would buy things for $75, and they would say, and he's going to sell it for $175, and his profit is $100. And at first my kids would say, that seems like it's not fair. They're ripping those people off. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, they're buying it for $75 and they're selling it for $100. I said, well, who paid for the gas to go pick it up? Because I don't know. Well, who paid for that person's time? Because that person has a family who went and bought it. The person who bought it for $175 never left their town. So it had to go from one place to another. So there is this tendency to think that fair equals almost communism, if you will. And if fair can be a four-letter word if we're not careful, because it all depends on who's fair. It's fair. It's not fair. Let's do fair share.
So what if he spent that $75 and nobody bought the thing that he had?
That's
Is that
right.
fair?
Now he's stuck with it.
Oh, nobody bought that. His business collapsed. Oh.
Look, we tell our kids fair is a dirty word. Why? Because it's all relative. I want to control you. I'm going to use the word fair. Surprise, whatever it happens to be, I win. When I say the word fair, it's whatever works for me. I want to manipulate you. I want to change the rules. I want to control the situation. I will keep using the word fair, fair share, fair amount, fair this. It's not fair. Do this. Because fair is a relative word. It means just it's whatever you want it to be. It's just a made-up word. So be very careful about the business conversations that you have. Here's a great example. About 6 years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago,
Yep.
client comes to our office. Father was killed on the freeway. I won't go into all the details because I don't want you to know all the whole story and kind of figure out who it is. But the father was killed on the freeway by a wrong-way driver who was driving his company truck. So, and the guy was drunk, right? He drove on the wrong way on the freeway and killed this girl's father. 4 children and a wife left behind, all except 2. I guess 2 of them were still minors, 2 were not. So they come into my office. By the time the insurance and the settlement and everything, it's $3.8 million. $3.8 million. Cash money, tax-free. Here it goes. Mom was in her mid-40s. Oldest daughter was about 23 or 4 or 5, somewhere in there. So we said, okay, let's put a plan, let's put a process together so that the younger ones will get their portion. It will go make sure that they could pay for college. They could buy a home someday. They pay for their wedding, buy some rental property, whatever it is that they wanted to do. Let's put it aside and make that happen. And then let's put aside for the next child and who's still not sure if he wants to go to college or not. And then the older one. But what ended up happening was the second to the oldest child said, I am the financial genius because I went to a seminar for one of those big seminars down in the convention center. And I learned how to flip real estate. And I learned how to do mortgages, private placement mortgages, and words, some of the things I'd never heard of. I was saying, well, here's some safer choices. We have some safer choices. We can put it, protect it, do this. Nope, this is what we're going to do. So I get a call yesterday, and she has a small account with us, about $8,000, an IRA, an old IRA that she opened up years ago. And I said, okay, well, how much is left of the $3.8 million? She goes, well, not much. And so I asked 4 times, I counted, before I could get an answer. And I said, okay, so let's go backwards. Okay, so here I'm taking a look because I don't know what we're going to do with this account. What do you want to do? Do you want to add money to it? And she said, well, I said, how much is left of the $3.8 million? And she said, well, Arif, I told you about the guy that ripped us off and the CPA that scammed us and the bookkeeper that phonied up the numbers and, the properties that weren't what they were, and I promised this and it wasn't that. How much is left of the $3.8 million? And she said $8,000. $8,000 that's sitting in her Roth IRA that we have. And everything else is gone. And her father passed away. The money's over. He can't go back and earn it. He was working for his family, for his children in their college. And one of them is about almost done with college. The youngest is just about done. So some of her college is paid for at a state school, so it can't be that much, right? They paid for her state college. And all the others have lost their homes, lost their properties, and now renting, out of money. And the only thing left is this one youngest has a college education, and they have $8,000 in a Roth IRA, $3.8 million. Tax-free, here's cash. Gone. Very scary when you think about this because those dollars were paid for with blood. I mean, you understand that. Somebody died.
Yeah, literally.
And the incompetency, the arrogance, the self-righteousness, I don't know, pick a word. You pick it, it probably fits somewhere in there. Instead of understanding that, listen, the most I've ever made is $1,000 every 2 weeks. So I'm going to come to any financial professional, I don't care, it doesn't have to be us, any financial professional. And today she gets $3.8 million, not because she earned it, not because she did something for it, but because she was managing her parents' and her kids' money. And now she could barely manage $1,000 in her life. And surprise, here's $3.8 million. Is it any surprise that she crashed and burned? It isn't. Ask the lotto winners. If you're preparing to leave money to your children in an inheritance, you have to consider how good they have already managed the money in which they've earned. If they are not good at it, then you've got to think twice about it. Because for their own protection. And it isn't that they're stupid, dumb, bad, or evil. It's just that their decisions are not at the level that it takes. Look, hate him or love him, President Trump said something that was brilliant a few months ago, probably by now. And it was this. They said, why are you hiring billionaires to be in your cabinet and manage these? He said, who else am I going to put? These people have already made their life. They're not trying to make a name for themselves. They've managed billions of dollars in company. They've managed hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. They've already done it. You want to take somebody with a degree, from law school and put him or her in charge of an agency of 1,000 people? He said, I put a business person because they have already done it. So to me, that made a lot of sense, right? My perspective, maybe not from yours. It's his friends and his cronies. Do you understand? All of them, zero of them take a paycheck. Zero. Well, I know because they're making money on the backside. All right, look, no matter what anybody says, you're going to always want to win. So, but do you understand that none of the last 2 presidents, 3 presidents, cabinets earned zero that I know of. All of them took a paycheck. All of them. So why? I don't know. I just think if you understand money, you do better things with it. When you don't understand money, you kind of don't because you're just trying to figure out life. So teach kids how to manage a penny, $1, $10, $100, $1,000. And if you don't know how to manage past 1,000, then you better learn how to manage 10,000 and then 100,000. So that the day comes when you get that big retirement check, or you sell your home that you didn't do anything to earn, right? You just bought a house 18 years ago for $200,000. Today it's worth $480,000, or you bought a house for $400,000 and today it's worth $1 million. What did you do for $600,000? It's not as like your creative mind or your ability to manage the markets. You just bought a house.
Well, Arif, I knew the market was going to go up.
Why didn't you buy 2 or 3, 4? Oh, you're that smart? You should have bought 6. You just happened to be there. And the market went up. If I bought Google, Apple, and Facebook for $2 a share, and today it's worth $4,000. Really? So are you out managing any of those companies? No, you just bought it because it's going up. Everybody made money, whether you deserved it, whether you're good, bad. It just went up. So don't add value to something that is an accident. When you do that, your life becomes very unpredictable. And not somebody who is managing and planning properly the day-to-day wealth accumulation of your family. It just doesn't happen because you live by accident, by happenstance. Or I love this one. You're just lucky, Jeff. You're lucky. Well, maybe you can get by with actually being skillful.
Right, and I think if you have those financial characteristics, those good characteristics, those good habits, then it's like the guy told me many, many years ago, probably about 15 years ago. I was talking with a gentleman, and he was talking modestly about how well he's done, and he was an older gentleman, and he was sharing stories with me. And I said, "Wow, you're really lucky," because I was being sincere. I said, "You're so lucky." He says, "You know what, kid? The harder I worked, the luckier I got."
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
How many times do you see that when your life goes through and you try to figure out, what career path am I going to choose, or how much money do I need to live? And all of these are quantitative, they're measurable. How about start doing some research and understanding how money works? Today you can find it anywhere. You guys, you can go to hometownstation.com. That's hometownstation.com. Click on Total Financial Solutions. Send us an email. We're happy to answer it either directly or even on the air here if you have any questions. I'm Arif Halaby, and that's Jeff Gerard, and you can join us every week at this time on your place for news, talk, and information. Your hometown station, KHTS.